And joining me now is David Hawkins. He's the editor of the Fulcrum here in Washington, D.C. He helps us break down some of the big stories going into Washington each week. And this week, the Supreme Court started another term, and they started with a pretty notable case.
That's right. So this is an important Supreme Court term because they have several hot cases. It's also the first full Supreme Court term since Brett Kavanaugh joined the court. His confirmation didn't happen until after the Supreme Court term started a year ago. So first court with a absolutely undeniably conservative majority from the very start. And the first landmark case that they're going to consider, which is on Tuesday, is a challenge by a gay man, a lesbian woman, and a transgender person who are all trying to get the court to say that the existing federal civil rights law protects them from employment discrimination. The landmark civil rights law of the 1960s, that it protects people based on the basis of sex. It says you can't discriminate against somebody on the basis of sex. These people say that it's not gender, it's actually their sexual identity is what should protect them. It's going to be a fascinating case because if you take the conservative view, which is that the strict interpretation of the words of the statute are what should be important, then they seem to have a pretty good case.
Yeah.
The gay man, for example, says, if it wasn't for my sex, in other words, I'm attracted to another man, if I was a woman attracted to another man, wouldn't be in trouble.
Yeah.
So fascinating case.
Yeah, and David, that is one of a number of pretty high-profile cases they'll be hearing this term.
That's right, and as I said, first Supreme Court in this new era with an undeniably conservative majority, and they're taking up all kinds of hot-button cases. For example, they are going to rule on whether the President Trump's attitude toward the Dreamers is appropriate, the 800,000 Dreamers. Yeah. They're going to take up a case involving Louisiana's abortion law, which, if it goes against abortion right advocates, would mean maybe only one place in Louisiana that could provide abortions. They're going to take up a case involving gun rights in New York City that is enormously important in the world of gun control or gun rights, and they're going to take up a case that will decide whether aid to religious-based schools versus other independent schools. So, religion, guns, abortion, immigration, all the hot-button issues. It's going to be quite a Supreme Court term.
Right, and we do know that the Supreme Court is a huge issue for voters, and a lot of people, or at least some people, say that the actual pick of the president being able to put another justice on the Supreme Court is a very big deciding factor, and this is obviously, they're going to be deciding these cases during an election year.
Excellent point, hugely important point. Remembering that a key aspect of Donald Trump's election in 2016, assuaging the concerns of conservatives, was that he put out a quite specific list of who he would consider for the Supreme Court. He picked his first two justices from that list. There's going to be a lot of pressure on the other side. Not only are they going to try and put pressure on Trump to come up with another list for his second term, but to put pressure on the other side, ideological side, for whatever Democratic nominee there is to put up a similar list. So yes, the Supreme Court is going to be a hot topic in 2020, and these cases will set the stage for that.
Well, we'll be watching right alongside you, David. Thank you so much. For more stories like these, you can check out the Fulcrum at thefulcrum.us.